Do you believe there's a shidduch crisis in the Hasidic community?
What's the reasoning behind meeting in the house? Because to me, that just sounds stressful.
What it is that you're really looking for, not what people are telling you to look for.
And they understand masculine and feminine roles.
Do you have any specific speed dating tips for people?
When people think of Hasidim dating, it's like, bells go off. Like, oh my God, what are they trying to do? It's basically...
Mimi Hirsch and Rivki Landau
Yes.
from Bshow Up,
Yep.
which is a Hasidic singles speed dating event.
Correct.
First of all, where are you coming from today? Is it from Borough Park?
So I'm originally from Williamsburg,
Okay.
and we moved to Pomona. I live in Pomona.
Where is, I should know
It's
where
in
Pomona
Muncie.
is. That's so
Rockland.
bad.
It's in Muncie,
Rockland.
Muncie, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I grew
Both?
up in Muncie and I live in Pomona.
So what kind of, first I want to get into just the general Hasidic dating scene because I know nothing about it.
Okay.
So from your perspective, what do you think is different about the way Hasidim date compared to just any other part of Judaism?
Okay. So the way me and my husband met, there's a Shadchan, and she basically, I guess she knew of me, and she knew of my husband's family. So they called the boys' family and the girls' family, and then my parents do the whole runaround, and his parents does the same. Then we go and meet in like a supermarket. I don't meet him. The parents look.
So the
Check
parents,
out. Yeah,
the parents will meet before.
Yes.
correct.
So
Yes.
first they're doing research, and we'll get into what that looks like.
Yeah.
But then they're meeting before anything happens also.
Correct. First, the girl is going to meet the boy's parents, and it's like unofficial. Like it's just like you walk around in a grocery aisle, and then they're like, "Oh, it's hi," and then we just talk like for 2 minutes. They just basically check you out, like your parents, and if you didn't stutter or if you
It's
didn't.
with the parents?
Yeah, it's with the parents.
Okay.
And then the
So what
girl
are they
goes
checking
home,
out?
and then just the parents, and if you're
The appearance of the parents?
no, the parents with a girl and the parents with the boy. My
Ah.
parents will go meet
Got it.
unofficially the boy, and his parents will come unofficially and meet me.
Ah. Oh, I
In
thought
a
you were
public
saying
place.
each pair of parents would meet the other parents.
No,
You're saying even before one date, you're going to meet with the parents of the other person.
correct.
The bottom line is that when it comes to Shidduchim, they do all the research from before they even meet. Like by the time they're meeting already, this is very serious. There's a lot of back end of like just information back and forth. So a lot of that information, by the time you're meeting, you're really like, it's 1, 2, some of them are 3 dates, but
Hmm.
some of them are like after the first date they're meeting. It's kind of just like, check her out, be okay with her. Like that's the idea.
Yeah.
So what does the research look like? Because even in the more Litvish communities, you have Shadchanim,
Yeah.
which is you can use that term to describe a lot of different types of people,
Hmm.
even though it's all generally matchmaking.
Yeah.
But what does a Shadchan look like in Hasidic circles? And also, what does the research look like? What are they looking for?
They're looking. It depends on the girl. Depends on the boy. But in the Hasidic world, the girls go like a hot pancake, and the boys, they have to sit and learn. They have to be a scholar. They have to be good looking. They have to, be a mensch. The girl just has to be friendly and sweet.
So
And
how are they
pretty.
researching that?
The research is pretty intense. It's a lot of, it's not even about the boy and girl anymore. It's a lot about like
The family.
the families, the backgrounds, the grandmother. They really
Yeah.
go intensely into the family.
And also they're Levish. Like there are so many levels of Hasidim. There's the one with the spitzel, which is a tichel. And
Wait, what is it?
it's called a spitzel.
A spitzel?
Yeah, it's they wrap around a tichel
Okay.
on the head. So that is the ultra. So my mother wears a regular wig. We call it an open wig, which it's a wig that doesn't have a hat on top of it.
Coverage.
Okay. And you make wigs also, right? You make
Yes,
spitzels.
yes. So there is first the spitzel, which is the cream of the crop. Then there is the hats, and then there is the open.
No, there's bands also. There's a lot of
bands.
levels.
Yeah,
So
there's
let's
a
say
lot of levels. So
There's
you
a lot
have
of
to-
levels. Like there's different hats mean different things. There's a lot of steps. So
Is
like,
there a hierarchy there? Are some people better than others within the community?
sure,
Are
that's
there
based off
tiers?
of what you're wearing.
Yes.
It's like,
So why doesn't
so-
everyone just wear like
The Spitzel?
Spitzel.
Good question. I guess for us, it's my grandmother never wore it. So we do whatever our grandparents wore.
But it's still perceived as being a lower level than the
Yes,
other ones?
yes.
Yeah.
But I would never want to marry a boy that wants me to wear a Spitzel. So I never go into that category. So the Shadchan looks at, is this a Spitzel girl or is this a Shetel girl?
Right.
So that's how we based it on.
How long would you say the research process takes usually? How many days, how many months?
It could take a
Usually-
while. By the time they're going out, like it's legit. Like so,
Yeah.
sometimes it's a week, sometimes it's 2, sometimes it's 3.
It's usually like 2-3 weeks.
Oh, I thought it would be way longer.
I know.
no. Don't worry, they do intense research.
Yes.
And you're saying by the time... Oh, first of all, what's a Bishau?
Okay.
What is that?
So Bishau, so when the Shadchan persuaded my mother and persuaded the boy's mother that these two are a match, the last step is that the two meet. Both parents, like I come with my mother and he comes with his parents, and the parents are in a different room. We meet at a table with no food. There's a bottle of seltzer, usually. Nobody opens it.
Any
It's a
specific
rule.
brand?
Bermayim, Mayim Chaim,
okay.
and nobody touches it. He doesn't offer me a glass. I don't know.
Do the crazy people open the bottle?
No.
That never happens?
Mine didn't. I don't know. But and we basically talk shtism, like nothing, like the weather, politics, like nothing about really who you are, who I am, nothing.
You're 18, you don't know any better.
Yeah, it's usually 18, 19, 20.
You don't know any better than what?
We don't know what to ask.
You don't know what to ask.
No.
You're 18. Do you really
Yeah.
know at 18
Yeah.
what you want your life to look like, what you want your future to look like? I got married at 18. I actually was a little bit more out of it. So I had 3 Bashows. Bashows means sitting in. It's like
Yeah.
in the house.
A
In the
Bishau
house
is
yeah.
every date a Bishau?
Yes.
Automatically?
Yes, but it's not going out. Once you're going out, it's a date.
Yeah.
It's sitting in. It's going to
So first Bishows and then dates.
no. There's
No
no,
dates.
dates.
No dates.
No,
You
you
date
come,
after you get married.
Yeah, your parents are in a different room. You go to someone's house. It's usually the sister's house or the grandmother's house. And my grandmother has a traditional Bshow tablecloth, and she swears by it because that tablecloth makes Shidduchim. But anyway, so a Bshow is you meet in someone's house and you talk for like an hour or 2.
What's the reasoning behind meeting in the house? Because to me, that just sounds stressful. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's the last thing I would want to do. As much as I love my family,
Yeah.
it sounds like it would first of all, take away a level of independence.
Mm-hmm. There's no
but
independence.
also just, yeah, so what is that? Why is there no independence?
You're 18.
Yeah.
They're not allowing you to go
Yeah.
out the door.
Yeah.
I would have dated from where I come from. It's totally fine. But my husband's parents were like, no way.
Yeah.
So when we met, it was like in the house. We got together, we met, and our conversations were very he would ask me what my name is. And I'm like, you heard about me for the last few weeks. Why,
Yeah.
he asked me my name and I responded with my name. And then our basis of we're perfect for each other was we both listen to Z100 and we both don't want a TV in the house.
Yeah.
That was oh my God, we're perfect for each other.
Yeah.
Does it work for most people? It doesn't sound like... 'cause
It worked for
the way,
me.
The way
It
you were
works for
explaining
me.
it, you're saying by the time the Bishau is set up, everything is perfect,
Yeah.
which...
And the boy and the girl is so desperate to get out. We're so
Get out.
excited to finally get engaged. It's a very stressful time. The parents put a lot of pressure. And most of the time, the girl says okay and the boy says okay. And then they don't even know what they're saying. But if it works, it works for some. I mean, I believe in every marriage, you have to put in a lot of work, no matter in the dating world or... For me, it worked. And if I would go out and date, I don't know what I would choose.
Yeah,
But
I don't
was
think I would be
happy-
able to do it any other way.
I was happy that this worked for me, and we made it work.
And you would recommend that for other people also?
So we modernized it.
Yeah.
We modernized it.
Because what you're
yes.
doing, the speed dating, doesn't sound like a Bishau at all.
It is.
That sounds totally different.
It's totally a Bashert.
It is
It's
a
sitting
Bashert.
down and we're having you meet face to face.
Yes.
The idea of why we're doing this Bashert
Yeah.
this Bshow Up event
And
is
sorry,
because...
one second, just for everyone
go.
listening.
Yeah.
You both started Bshow Up, which is speed dating for Hasidim, if that
Yes.
wasn't clear.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, and the reasoning why we came up with the idea is because the way, from what we come from, is basically asking tons of information.
Yeah.
And everyone's saying no because of Schmetzenplatz and because of her grandmother and because of her mother.
Yeah.
And it's like, what about those two people?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're not so focused on the boy and the girl. Do they match? It's more about like, are the families aligned? Are they both from Satmar? Are they both from Vishnitz? Are they both from... We want you to meet the person face to face. And we had a couple of scenarios now. We have our second engagement that just happened.
Yep.
Yes. And we're only doing this for what? 4 months? We did 2 events.
We only did
We
2
had-
events. Yeah.
Yeah, we had one from the first event and one from the second event. So 2
Yep.
for 2. We're having our third event. So hopefully whoever wants to be the third one, so
Yeah.
come on board
That's
with
right.
us. But the idea is that they're meeting face to face. They don't know the backgrounds. They don't know their mother. They don't know their grandmother, and it's really just about them.
Yeah, and they come from the same, we're Hasidish and Hamish,
Yeah.
so which is very, very important.
It sounded like the point of Bishau
Yeah.
was, first of all, having the parents there
Mm-hmm.
does something for everyone. It's like it makes the decision a little heavier for everyone, so they take it more seriously.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also all the research before.
Mm-hmm.
So is there research being done before? And why aren't the parents in the room if that worked for the Bishau?
So the reason, first of all, the ages we gear to is 25 to 40. Those are the people that the Shadchan doesn't call anymore. And
Guys, girls, everyone?
yeah, yeah.
Why not?
Because in the Hasidic world, it goes from 18 to 21. 22, okay, 23 already, schwach, whatever, that's, and then by 25, you're basically on your own. And a Chussid has no idea how to go and talk to a girl, pick up a girl, or so they need the guidance. So we are acting like their parents, as in we're guiding them, we're helping them, we're making them at ease. And the girls, the girls come in to a high-end restaurant. The guys are dressed beautifully in black ties or in packages, like black suits, and the girls are dressed beautifully, like they're going to their Bashou. There's no mingling. It's very professional. The girl comes in, she sits down on a couch, a beautiful couch. There's a table in front of her with a candle. And there is a chair, an armchair in front of her, and the guy sits in front of her. And there is a staff of 12 people, Shadchanim, therapists, dating coaches, me and Rifki, and we make sure that the guys are respectful, the girls are taken care of. And Baruch Hashem, we had 2 events, and it's such a success.
Did anyone try to stop you from doing it? Did you have to push for it? Or was this basically just everyone knew this was an issue that now you're able to solve?
We did have some pushback. Definitely did have pushback. But
Any new idea,
yeah,
the Hasidim, they're scared. Like, what are they trying to do? Because, again, we're not here to mess up anything. We're here for the people that are forgotten, and nobody's calling them. And by them showing up is giving them a chance. So many people told us, it's so hard for me to be vulnerable. It's so hard. And we constantly tell, we'll take care of you. When they came into the room and felt the energy, felt the warmth, the guy that got engaged now, what did he tell you?
he said that he felt like, what did he say? Something like, I felt like you were taking care of me, like I was your sister.
Oh.
Yes.
Like just caring for me and like really interested in like, what are you looking for? What do you want?
Yeah.
We have Hannah, we have Leia. Leia sits on the phone for hours listening to people, hearing what they're interested in, what they want. Just that support that we have is incredible. It's like the idea is to like create, first of all, a safe zone, and second of all, like a community. Like we have a very, very, very nice community situation. And outside of our event, we're constantly looking, okay, this didn't work for you. We have 2 events so far. So not everyone came to both events. There were some, whatever. So we play around with that.
And we move into, with Hannah, a more of a dating advice. kind of
Absolutely.
segment.
Sure.
Yes.
Awesome. Let's do
Yes,
it.
Thank
let's
you.
do it.
Okay, segment 2, we have Hannah Kahana, who's a certified life coach, and we have Leia Pell, who is a Shadchan. So first of all, as a Shadchan, what do you look for when a guy's talking to you or when a girl is talking to you, what advice would you give them just on how to best communicate what they're looking for and even just to present themselves in the best way?
So I always ask them to write me a little paragraph about themselves, a resume of what they like, what's their interest, where they are a little bit in their life, um, what's important to them. Most of all, what's important for one person could be extremely not important to the other person. And it gives me a little bit of idea how old they are, or they would take somebody divorced, not divorced, with a kid, without a kid, and religious or not. And it gives me an idea of who they are to try to match them up to something that's similar to that.
In terms of who gets set up with the most dates or the best dates, whatever you want to call it, are there certain patterns that you see for if someone fits into this box, if they're this age looking for this thing, they have sort of a bigger market to tap into?
Um, Again, somebody that's divorced with 4 kids will have a little bit of a harder time, I think. But really, it's just, you know, I think it's pretty much the same. Like,
Pretty much equal. So even someone who's, let's say, a girl who's 18 versus 20, would there be a decline?
so I basically deal mostly with girls and guys that are in their 30s and 40s that are either
Oh, wow.
divorced or never got married. So there's no, oh my God, she's 18 and hot on the market, let's get her off. You know, it's my specialty is either second time around or somebody that didn't get married and is 30 and 32.
Why do you choose that? That's interesting. I've never heard of,
Well,
first of all,
it's-
specialties in Shadchanis in general. But
Well, I just have a love for it. And I meet so many people at the event, and everybody has this amazing to themselves, and they make it easy to deal with. So it turns out that that's became my specialty.
wow. And now on the coaching side of it, what are some big mistakes you see people making on the guys and the girls?
So I think one of the biggest things, especially like, dealing with Bshow Up and things like that, is that you have to really understand, you have to have a good sense of self. You have to understand what it is that you're really looking for, not what people are telling you to look for or what you think you should be looking for, but really what you're about and what you know is working for you, what's not working for you. So it's basically doing an assessment of yourself before you start reaching out to Shadchanim or going to events so that you come in with a much better understanding. I think people kind of do the opposite. Let me just date till you hate, or let me just go out with whomever. And, if it sounds good or people are telling me to do this, I'll just follow until I get to a point of resentment or burnout. And then I'll start assessing myself, which is silly, obviously. 'Cause
Do you think it works out for people?
when they do
The
the
date
opposite?
till you hate?
I'm not a fan of date till you hate. I know that a lot of people will say that, but I think that it's pretty much like a recipe for how to get burnout. Like, how should you go about burnout? Date till you hate. I think that the concept behind it, the reason why it's spoken about is because the idea is like, don't just say no so quickly, right? I think that's the message that's trying to come across. But what happens is that you need to find that balance. You can't go from date till you hate to date everybody. You have to have something in between, date what's right for you and know when to say no. Both of those concepts are important.
So something I find interesting about the whole shidduch system is how people feel about the concept of, I think it's Bashert, that's what it's called.
Yeah.
So some Shadchanim I've talked to are like, no, it's not a real thing. Some believe in it very deeply. How do you feel about that? Do you think people are really, there's one person in the world that's meant for them? Or is it just you make it work with whoever?
Honestly, I feel like it's people get so caught up in the Bashert or do this and it's zechus for to find your zivug, right? Like you'll find your match if you do this, you wear this amulet or
Yeah.
I know somebody used to do this at weddings as a joke. They used to go around and be like, "Oh, segula slurpee, segula slurpee. If you drink this slurpee, it's segula." It was a great way to pick up girls, by the way. But
Oh, they'd go over to girls.
yeah,
with
be
the
like,
slurpee?
"Oh, hey, there's a segula slurpee. You want to try it?"
It's a great school.
So I think that people get so hung up on this. And really, honestly, it's about making sure that you're in a good place and finding somebody that can be your partner. Like this idea of like Zivug and Hashem's plan and all of that really kind of gets you into this spiral of like, well, what if this? What if that? And like instead, I think it's better to zoom out, focus on the things you know you can control, and try to find your person.
I just think I know for me, it informs a lot of my decisions, But I would think that is the core of what gives some people some stress around it, and what makes other people, they just have this like unwavering emuna that they're going to get married because they have this person waiting for them. But it's even for those same people that have all the emuna, there seems to be this weird like. I hope you're enjoying the episode so far. I just wanted to stop for a second and let you know that this podcast is actually produced by us, by Theorist Agency. And if you or someone you know has a podcast or wants to start a podcast, this is the place to do it. It's in Midtown Manhattan. Awesome studio, great location, really easy to book. Go to theoristagency.com. All the details are there. Check it out, theoristagency.com.
Connect.
There's a disconnect that sometimes it's almost a delusion that sometimes they can say, yeah, they're out there. And then other times it's like, wait, are they actually, or am I just messing something up right now?
Right. So that's why I think that there can be this, it's good to have the hope, but you also have to balance it with hishtadlus, with action, right? You can't just be like, I have a Bashert, everything will work out, tra la la la. And you can't also just be like action, action, action. You have to have that hope. So it's kind of like really my mantra with everything is like finding that balance within things. And I do think people should have hope. I don't think people should just follow logic and I have to go out with 30 guys because that's what's going to happen. Or I have to do this because that's what logic dictates or whatever. And on the flip side, I know that it'll work out for me. I'll find my soulmate. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to put in any work. It's fine. I can say no all the time because I have a Bashert. You have to find that balance.
Part of this is also if you believe that there's only one person out there for you and you date 10 people, just statistically, it's like, so there was one person in the billions of people on earth and you found the one person out of 5 people. So how are people believing that? And what does that actually mean?
So that's where I think that this.
And I know I'm just like, I keep going back to
No,
it 'cause it's
I totally understand. I think this is where it gets tricky is because, your Bashert can change, right? Depending on which path you take, your Bashert can also change. And that kind of leads you into the path of Mazolos and all of that. And I definitely have a belief of that, but I also feel like it can be a slippery slope where you get stuck in these ideas instead of taking action.
But you do think it's helpful?
I think it can
in
be
some
helpful.
ways.
I think it's also it's important to understand what speaks to you as a person. If you need that, like I'm holding out for my Bashert because you need that hope, that's what's going to propel you further. Go for it. If you're holding on to it as like a security blanket and you're using that as like enabling you not to go out with anybody, it's not working for you. You have to be honest with yourself.
It's a slightly different topic, but do you think people, especially in the Hasidic world, if people are getting married younger, and we're talking about the parents are in the room sort of signing off on them getting married because they're too immature to make the decision. So how do we balance the immaturity, but they're still making a lifelong commitment when they're this kid? So what's the right way to do that?
It's a good question. I think that it also really depends on your perspective and your expectations. So a lot of parents will say, if they're in that world, right? They'll say, well, my kid can't make that decision yet. I have to do it for them, but then they're going to learn as they go. Once they're married, that's their learning curve, and that's when they'll figure it out, right? And you asked this question before, is like, does it work? Does the show
Right.
work? I really also think it's all about your expectation, right? If somebody's expectation of marriage is, I have somebody in my life, I'm going to share my life with them, I'm going to have kids, I'm going to have a happy family, that's their expectation, it most likely will work. If your expectation is to be out there in the world and to explore the world and maybe your spouse doesn't have the same expectation, that's where that disconnect comes in. So it's really all about expectation and what you see as your future, like what your plans are.
Do you know why the age is specifically like 17, 18, whatever it is?
Why they
Why-
marry them off so young?
Yeah. As
Um,
opposed to, let's say, 24 or 25, whatever the average is for.
I think they don't want
Yes.
them to get too smart and realize what they want.
I also feel like there's an element of like, especially for girls, I think in the Hasidic world, where like they've been doing this all their lives. Like if they're one of the oldest, or even if I'm one of the oldest, there's this certain sense of like taking care of your siblings and taking care of your family that's ingrained, I think, in the community. So at the time they're 17, I don't think that this concept is so foreign to them. It's like, what do you mean? I've been training for this all my life. I got this.
Right.
And I think that there's definitely an element to that that's nice in a sense, because I feel like on the flip side, in the more like middle of the road, Litvish communities, you get married, and this was kind of my experience, was like, it's very shocking. And it's very like, I have to make supper every night. Like, can we have fish sticks? Can we not? Like, like what? So there's definitely positives to that type of lifestyle. It all comes back to your expectations.
And also, there's a whole nother topic of masculinity that a lot of people talk about. And I think it's probably a little different within Jewish circles. So, how do you see any sort of masculinity, like insecurity, within Jewish dating with
Yeah.
men?
A lot.
What does that look like?
I think a lot of people, girls and boys, guys, girls, however you want to say it, are insecure. I think that dating is, it's almost like you're on like a show, and like you're trying out for a show, or it's like the tryouts for whatever. It really can jar your sense of self, and it can really make you question your confidence. So I think for both guys and girls, I think it's less talked about for guys, but I think it's just it's just as prevalent for guys to be insecure. And and for them, I think it might be even a little bit worse, because they have to have this bravado, and they have to like pretend that everything is fine, and they're not scared or nervous. And if you talk about it, at least you could get, the right type of direction. But if you're not talking about it, then you're just,
But part of this, I'm just thinking, for a lot of these people, there is this giant pressure of getting married young. And then what happens if you don't get married young? But why does that pressure have to exist? And especially if you're operating within that system as a shadchan or as a coach. So do you actively try to give people their independence back? Because to me, it seems like people are kind of being robbed of their agency, because they're making this decision out of a place of, all these people want me to do this thing, and if I don't do this thing, then this is going to happen. So is there anything you can actively do to stop that?
yeah, 100%. I think even just like to Leia's credit, I feel like the amount of time that she spends talking to people to understand what they want, what they're about, is rectifying the problem right there. Because it's
Right.
not just, oh, I have an agenda. I know what's good for you. You have to listen to me. It's actually the opposite. It's like, okay, so what are you looking for? Let me see if I have this for you. And if I don't,
Right.
I'll come back to you. And she does.
Yeah.
She gets back to people all the time, like to check in or to see how they're doing. So I think from Leia's perspective, and she can jump in and reaffirm that.
I
but-
wanna hear from them. What are they looking for? Instead of me telling them, well, I think you should be doing this or you should be taking this. I always tell them, tell me about who you are and what do you want and what do you see in a partner. And
Yeah. And I think as a dating coach, it's definitely something I implement all the time. Most of my sessions are about, okay, so what do you want? Let's shut out the noise. Let's put on these headphones, which are great for shutting out noise. And let's figure out what it is that you want, because I think so much of why people choose badly, or why people find themselves in heavy situations in dating, is because they're not shutting out the noise. They're not listening to themselves.
So what can people do to actually listen to themselves? Because especially within, almost the more religious you get, the more ideas you have that are just like, we have all this wisdom that's true, and now why would I take my own idea? Why would I take how I feel about it? And now you have this Rav down the street, and then even the Shadchan is saying this.
Your neighbor.
So how are you supposed to figure out what you want and all that?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think that the best way to do that is to document, like really have a date with yourself after your date and say, okay, what did I learn from this experience? I tell my daters that all the time after a breakup. I said the best thing that you could do for yourself is to sit and write down, or however you want to do it, send yourself a voice note about what you learned about yourself from this experience. And that's gold, because you take that and then you apply it to the next thing. So you're not basically doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. You take an experience, you take a dating, you have to, put yourself out there, of course, take an experience and you really digest and break down what you learned from it, or what you didn't like about it, and what you want to see moving forward. And you use that, knowledge is power. You use that knowledge for your next experience. You come in already a better dater. And I always tell that to my daters, like, this experience that you had was not for nothing. 100% was not for nothing, because you got something out of this. Now, what you got, let's break that down. But you got something out of this.
right.
In Shadchanis, I hear a lot, and I think a lot about the money side of it. And sometimes I hear just some people complaining about, how can someone get paid for doing this? It has to be pure chesed. And then other people are like, how would you not get paid? And also it's halacha is that you're supposed to get paid. Do you think the whole monetary side of Shadchanis helps the system, or is it hurting it in any way?
Good question.
Yeah, I personally think that there has to be I think there has to be some sort of money associated with it, only for the fact that people take it more seriously. Then, I think that
Who takes it more seriously?
daters. I think that Shadchanim, yes, they do get a bad rep, and yes, there are many that are not in it for the right reasons. But at the same time, conversely, there are many daters that take advantage of the situation and
Right.
will, we have a Shadchan who's working for hours on something, and then they just ghost the Shadchan because they didn't appreciate it or whatever. But if you're spending money on something, you'll take it more seriously.
Right, but I also think like if you're starting off with, oh, I just want to tell you that my fee is $5,000.
Right.
No,
That
you should
balance.
give a little bit warmth, give a little bit love, and you know, that's a very big part too. It's of course it's nice to get paid, sure, but if you're doing it, this is my job, this is what I'm doing, and I would like this amount. No, yes, we work hours and hours on ends, and sometimes we get ghosted, and sometimes we get messages, and that's
Angry
fine.
messages. You can say it
Angry
like it is.
messages, but I think at the end of the day, we're all coming from a very good place, and we want the best. We're taking time out of the day to think about you, and that you should find your partner. So yeah,
It's a matter of just like respect on both ends. I
Yeah.
think that Shadchanim and daters both need to have that respect. It works both ways.
How do Shadchanim get better at what they do? Or how is there any way to test like how good someone is at what they're doing? Or any way to practice?
I think the more you do it, the better you get.
I think also that the fact that daters come back to you, which they
Yeah.
always do,
Yes.
and that they're willing to listen to what you have to say as a Shadchan, that just like the proof is in the pudding.
Yeah.
That they're coming back for a reason. I think that daters will not come back to a Shadchan that made them feel horrible,
Right.
that made them feel like, you better give me a good answer and you better tell me why you're not going out with somebody or else I'm going to keep pushing this. I have so many daters that their biggest fear is telling a Shadchan no. And they'll keep going out with somebody just so they don't have to tell a Shadchan no. And I think Leia is the opposite. I think she
Oh,
makes everyone
thank you.
feel really comfortable.
Yeah,
What are they scared of?
They're scared of the ramifications of what would happen. First of all, do they get a bad name? Is Shadchan going to set them up again? And also, they can get really vilified for how could you do that? You're old. Like, why are you not just go out with somebody? Would you want to not ever get married? There's a lot of it's sad, but I think that there's a lot of negativity in this in the dating world.
Right, especially if you're calling up someone, you're like, oh, well, you need to change this if you want to get this and this guy. You don't do that kind of thing. Nobody's changing for nobody, and everybody should be who they want to be. And for everybody, there's somebody there. It's never about pushing another person. It's never about dreading to pick up that phone call. You see the shotgun is calling that you don't want to pick up. That's not something we want to do.
So what steps do you take without pushing them? What are you able to do?
So first and foremost, I always listen to them. I ask them, tell me who you are, and tell me what you like, and tell me what's important to you, and what do you see yourself in the future, and what do you want out of a husband. And I try and I tell them, give me a couple of days, let me see what I can find. Send me a little bit of a resume, send me a picture, so I have you in my file. But it's never about, and I ask them, what's a big no, and what is a big yes.
And what about pictures and resumes?
Here's the thing. I'm always about that balance.
Or it's not even just on resumes anymore. It's in general.
It's everything,
Because there's
yeah.
like everything digital.
I am a very big believer, like I said, in balance. So I think that having a picture is good to a certain extent because I do feel like you can't tell certain things from a picture. You can tell the way someone's sitting, stands. You could tell certain things from a picture. Can you tell everything? No. And should you base your decision on a picture? Absolutely not.
Right.
Is it helpful to have a picture? Yes, it is. It just is.
And now also in the research part of it, when is it too much research? What are you not supposed to know before you're meeting someone? Or what's is it the 250th call that you're not supposed to make and everything before that is fine?
What should they not know?
I think it's also a matter of perspective. If you're the type of person that's like, listen, you know what? I'm going to go into a situation. I'm going to make best fit. You're going to tell me on a date why I like you, meaning not really, but you're going to show me why I should like you. And I feel like from that perspective, if that's how you feel about dating, don't do so much research. You don't need it. if you're the type of person that is overly anxious and you need to know things before you go out on a date to kind of calm your nerves, so you come in prepared, do a fair amount of research. Don't go crazy.
Right.
Recognize your line. Recognize where you're doing too much and what's enough that's going to help you have a successful date.
Right. And just the same way that you're not perfect, you can't expect the other person to be perfect. And the more research you do, you're not going to get much smarter.
Right.
in
And
my
that's the great
opinion.
thing about Bshow Up is that like we just had that story, right? Like last week where someone was saying that, this couple that got engaged from Bshow Up, they would have never gone out with each other because backgrounds, just it was never going to happen. They would absolutely never going to go out with each other. And they met at Bshow Up and they're engaged now. And I think that there's definitely an element to that where there can be so many things said. And even on the references end, people will say things and they're not careful about how they speak, and they'll say something as fact when it's their opinion. It's a reference's opinion about this person. Oh, I think that they're, a very angry person. And like, what does that mean? I don't know. I think they just get hangry in the morning. Like, you don't know what it is. Like,
Right.
you're just going on assumption. So I think that when you push yourself to just meet the person more, if it sounds like a good prospect, if the things that you need align, that's how you're going to get really the best results. And that's what Bshow Up does. It's kind of like speeds up the process for you and shows you, okay, what's this person about? You don't have to spend 20 hours doing research. You get to know them right away. Yes, no, let's go.
So are there any questions that you are not allowed to ask that are too far?
I think
That's
we just
Shadchan.
no.
In
And the
in
dating,
researching
the
for
Bshow
people.
Up.
Yeah, not with Bishop in general. Just if you're researching a human being to go out with them, is it just you can ask whatever you want?
I've heard, I think the craziest question I heard that somebody asked was, what does the girl keep by her bedside, like by her nightside drawer? Which is yes, it's a great question, but it's like, really? She
Is that
just
like
has a
another
water
version
bottle.
of what book do they have? Like what are
Kind
they
of,
reading right now?
kind of. But it's like it's such a crazy question, because what if she's the most insightful, deep person and she just happens to only keep a water bottle by her bed because she reads too much? I just feel like certain questions don't really give you the insight.
So what are the good questions that people should be asking?
For a date,
Yeah, before a date.
before a date.
In the
Okay.
research.
I
What does a
always-
good research process look like?
I always tell my daters when they're doing their research, I say, ask, what are the 3 adjectives that you would use to describe the person at the forefront of their personality? Everyone's nice, kind, and amazing, right? But when you ask somebody, what are the 3 adjectives that you describe a person? Usually they tell you those 3 adjectives are usually what's at the forefront of their personality. So I feel like that's a good one. It's very telling. If you start off by saying that this guy is brilliant, kind, and empathetic, you know that those are the strong points of their personality. So it's a good way to gauge what a lot of the person is about. And I also feel like a good question to ask is, this is what I'm looking for. Do you think that this sounds like this person would go well with that, right? So it's more like, instead of just trying to have the reference present this person as perfect, amazing, everything is great, let just be straight up. This is what I'm looking for. Does that match up?
There's another part of the references in research where that's where I mostly am. I'm not getting any calls for people, but a lot of my friends are. And they're always just like, there are no rules for what you're supposed to say about your friend if someone's calling and asking about them.
Yeah, there should be a guidebook on that.
And it's like any random person can be calling you. You don't know what their perspective is. You don't know what to say. So what do you say to someone who calls?
I think the best thing you can do is be honest. I know it's funny because I remember, like, now we're older, so I don't think my husband really gets those calls anymore. But when we were like first married, hear him on the phone, like getting these calls for his friends. And what I loved was that he was always just very honest. He was always just and in a nice way. He never said anything bad about people, these people that we're getting calls about, but he was just very straight up and honest. And I think when you lead with honesty and authenticity, people appreciate that.
You don't think it'll be taken, like if you don't exaggerate how amazing the person is, it'll be taken as, well, I guess they're not amazing.
I think you need to give specific examples. Like I love my friend because I know that I can call them at 3:00 in the morning and they'll come pick me up. That's giving context and heart to why they're amazing. So definitely give examples and be authentic about it, right? Like, they're amazing, they're gorgeous, everything's amazing, stunning, great. You have to make it real. It's like almost like a sales pitch, sadly, but you have to make it real. You have to give it heart.
Okay, I want to move to the next segment with either Rifki or Mimi or both. and then we'll talk about after the Bshow what happens.
Bye-bye.
Sounds good.
I hope you're enjoying the episode so far. If you want to start a podcast, or if you know someone who wants to start a podcast, or if you just have a podcast and want one episode done really well, we have a studio. That's actually where we're shooting this. It's called Theorist Studios. And yeah, come check it out or go to theoristagency.com. Technically, we said we were going to talk about what happens after Bshow Up, but
Yeah.
really we're talking about just who is Bshow Up for. With all this talk about the system and the process, what is the need that you saw that Bshow Up is filling?
So I saw a huge problem for people that are 25 and up, because first of all, the Shadchanim don't call. And whenever I have people over, I always suggest, like, oh my God, this girl would be great for you. And then the guy sitting next to that guy was like, I went out with her. She's not good for you. And I'm like, how can these people meet? So there has to be, we have to do something different and have the people cut the chase and go straight to meeting the girl. And within 5 minutes, you can really see if it's a yes or a no. Vice versa, like when I asked one of my clients, she's divorced. I asked her, why wouldn't you come to our event? She's like, I don't know, I'm scared. I'm like, would you rather wait for a Shadchan to call you and you do your research? Finally, you have a date. You're going to spend a whole day thinking of what you're going to wear, doing your face, choosing an outfit, being nervous, and finally, an hour before he's coming, you're waiting and pacing around the house. He's picking you up, you're sitting into the car, and within 5 minutes, you know this is a yes or no, but you can't go home. You have to go through 3 hours of sitting through this and coming home, and then you're just, oh my God, what a waste. So when you come to Bshow Up, it's professional, you're taken care of, and you have 35 men or 35 women that we do our research before we invite you to our events. So first of all, you have to register. In order for you to be part of Bshow Up, there is a link. You have to register. It's a questionnaire. What you're looking for, single, you have kids, you're divorced. And we go through them.
Also?
Yes.
What are some of the other questions?
So there's the level of religious. So there's I think there's a Hasidic modern. I think there's.
Can you give like details on what? Each
Yes. Okay. Fine.
level
So
is?
there's. Oh yeah. Absolutely. So there's all levels. We have a pretty wide range of kind of people that are signing up to this event, and we're trying very hard to get the most people signing up so we can actually target. Each event could have, the most people like you, and in order to create that, we need hundreds of signups. So we have the people that come from Hasidic backgrounds that are not religious anymore. We have the people that are coming from Hasidic backgrounds that are completely religious.
What's even considered Hasidic? Because I
Hasidic
think of
is
like when people say Litvish, I'm like, that is a crazy blanket term to use because it doesn't really describe all the different people that people
Correct.
use.
It's a certain Hamish. It's more like, it's like Eastern European. We're very traditional. It's a certain mindset. We're a total different animal. That's what I could say.
It's a wide range, but
Yes.
you're still coming, like me and Mimi grew up differently, but we're both coming from Hasidic background. There's a certain understanding from where you're coming, even though you're like, me and my husband grew up completely different. We're both Hasidic, both come from the Hasidic background. There's all these levels and stuff like that.
Are there
but
beliefs in there that you specifically have that you think maybe other people didn't grow up with that can connect Hasidim to each other?
I don't get the
Meaning,
question.
I'm trying to figure out what actually separates, what makes this person Hasidic instead of just like another Jewish person in New York.
So they have to speak Yiddish.
Okay, that's a big
Okay,
one.
so we speak Yiddish.
I'm out. instantly.
Yeah. But you know what? We're also gearing towards Hamish because a lot of Hasidim are okay with marrying a girl that's Hamish.
Although
And that's-
Lubavitch is also
that's Hamish.
Hasidish, right? Lubavitch is also Hasidish. I'm
Yeah.
saying it's that like,
Yes.
you
That
know,
counts?
not for
Not
this
as
event,
much.
I don't think, but that's the idea.
Yeah.
That's what,
So
Hasidic.
how long are the men and women speaking at the event specifically? How long is each round? Whatever.
So
you
it's
call it?
5 minutes. The girl sits pretty. She doesn't get up. And the guy just has to move every 5 minutes. There is like a bell, and they get up and they go to the next one.
So my question would be, we were speaking earlier how when you're 18 or 19, there are hours
This
and
is Zach, by the
hours.
way. He's Zach.
I'm Zach, by the way, yeah. There are hours and hours and hours of research going in to see if someone could be a potential match. Now all we're saying is all you need is 5 minutes to figure out if someone's a potential match.
Because
So maybe take that idea that we're talking about, these 5 minutes, and put it with the other kind of dating scenes that we've been talking about before. Because obviously, if this 5 minutes is going to work, possibly, so then why spend hours and hours and hours and 2-3 weeks looking into someone if they just meet in person and for 5 minutes they can figure out if they're potentially good enough for a date?
That's what we're trying to do. We're
Yeah.
trying to get you into one room, so we're not doing all that research. So you get to meet the person for who they are at our event instead of doing all that background research. So what we do is you meet, you come to the event, you meet the person. So you're meeting, let's say, 25, 30 people at the event. You're picking out 2, 3, 4 that work for you. You're writing down names, okay? And then after the event, you call Leia, say, I'm interested in this guy or this girl. And then she'll obviously make sure from both ends. And then you meet together and then go from there. We don't do the background research like we used to growing up. At 18, they're doing 3 weeks worth of research because by the time you're meeting the person, that's your person for the most part.
Yep.
For the most part. So we're blocking that out. We want you to meet the person for who they are, which is what we're doing right now at this event. And then after that, okay, I had 5 minutes with him. I see something, maybe yes, maybe not. Now I'll go for a date. Let me see what, like if this is something, if there's something further, something to come of this.
That's right.
Got it.
Like look at it as like a business convention. It's very professional. There's no mingling. There is no dancing. When people think of Hasidim dating, it's like, bells go off. Like, oh my God, what are they trying to do? It's basically cutting to the chase. Like instead of asking around the whole world and always getting a nah, a no, come to our event. We make sure that when you get invited, we have someone that might be there for you. We don't like it goes by invites only.
What can you actually ask in 5 minutes that would help you figure out if it's the right person?
It's funny because
It seems like not that much time.
I'll tell you. So we walk around the room. We make sure everybody is respectful. And there was this one guy that walked in, and I was like, I don't know what he's gonna do here. Like I don't know. He just looked different. And I just sat down with him, just to chat, and I'm like, I was blown away. There is something about when you have eye-to-eye contact, body language. He was so smart. I was blown away. And I'm like, this is so important. Let's stop the asking. Let's stop it. Just come to our place and you'll be taken care of. Again, it's not only the event. Once you sign up to Bshow Up, after you leave, first of all, we make sure that the guy does not ask you for your phone number and the girl doesn't have to feel awkward if she doesn't like him. So all they do is they write down a name, the girl writes down the name and the guy writes down the name. And then after the event, they give it to us. We give it to the Shadchan, to Leia. And she is not pushy, Leia. She listens to you. She's calm. We made sure, like, we don't want toxic, pushy people, which many Shadchanim are, and Leia's do a fantastic job. And she did already 2 Shidduchim. So one got married already, and one they're getting married right after Shvius.
So is there
So
research
maybe-
after? Yeah, Zach, go ahead.
Maybe this would be a question for Leia, but let's say someone says they liked 7 different people that they spoke to.
Yeah,
How
it
does Leia
happened.
then
It
slim
happened.
down that list from 7 to 1? or
Prioritize
2?
which
Yeah.
one is first, which one's second. Make a list of the top to
Yeah.
all the way down, and then she'll start with
Is
one
it
after the
unheard
next.
of for someone to quote unquote date more than one person at the same time? So, for example, in my community, it's not at all crazy for someone to go on a date and to go on another date with a different girl the next day. Is that frowned upon in your community?
Yeah.
Is that not allowed? Is something that you? What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's each person individually has their thingy, their own opinion about it. I feel like give the person the full time of day. Like that's how I feel about it. I feel like if you're jumping around, then you're not
Yeah.
able to give this person their full fair shot, and
Yeah.
then you're there's
You won't
always going to
fully
be
invested,
yeah.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
So like we had a guy that came to both of our events, and he went out with many girls, and every girl he was like, no. And I called him up and I said, you know what? most guys don't have this opportunity that you're having. There's something in you that's blocking. I think you should go talk to our coach, our dating coach, Hannah. And he was so open to it. He was like, "Thank you." He spoke to Hannah, and he was so thankful. Like he got his, because again, we're trying to help you. When you sign up to Bshow Up, you are part of a community. We hold your hand from the beginning to the end, till marriage. And we're very respectful. We want the best for you. That's all.
Yeah, we're
Do
trying
you
to.
think speed dating is for everyone?
Yes.
For everyone?
Yeah,
No matter who?
that's right.
There are no cons to it?
No.
I feel like
Especially nowadays. Like, I have 2 daughters. I'm so nervous when they're gonna go out to date. Like, now I tell them, if anyone serves you water, don't drink it. Like, if you go out into the bathroom and you come back, ask for another glass. Like, it's a frightening world. When you come to our event, it's run professionally, especially for the girls. You don't have to be in a car alone with a stranger or go to, I don't know what. It's a crazy world.
It's a very safe space. It's a very safe space, and you get like a real variety here.
But quality guys.
Yeah.
Quality guys. And
And
quality
girls.
girls, sorry. Quality girls, yeah.
How do you think it can? So you think no one should do a regular Bashert?
I
Because
mean,
you both had a regular Bashert,
yeah.
right?
I mean, we geared to 25 and up, but I believe in the Bishau world. Like the younger ones, they should still continue. If it works, go for it. But we're dealing with people that the Shadchanim are not calling anymore.
Yeah, we're dealing with a way older range.
Yes.
I think it works for the 18-year-olds, the
Yeah.
You think it
Bashert.
works?
Yeah.
I do
Mhm.
think so. I think they're raised like that. It's normal, like Hannah said.
Yeah.
It's their reality. I mean, if they want to get married at 18.
Do you believe there's a Shidduch crisis in the Hasidic community? Because you hear in our community, in the modern Orthodox community, everyone talks about Shidduch crisis, Shidduch crisis, Shidduch crisis.
Absolutely.
Is
Yeah.
there one?
Huge.
But the issue isn't for those that are 18; it's for those that are 25.
Yes.
Correct.
But what is the
Once you're
crisis?
23, the call really
For
stop.
everyone?
So the issue is that there's no Leias around, or not enough Leias around. They're trying to help out these 25-year-olds.
I think the
So-
issue is that we're so busy focusing on the information about the mothers and the siblings versus the boy and the girl. It's again, like she said, there's constant asking questions, right? So let's say I'm calling you about whatever, and you're like, I dated her. Don't even bother. Like, it didn't work for you doesn't mean it won't work for you.
Mhm.
But it's so like we just throw out like, nah, it's not for you, or this or that. Hold on. Why? Why are we saying no?
Mhm.
Because it didn't work for you. And I think that that's the problem. We don't get to meet each other. We had this couple that just got engaged. They knew each other. They grew up in the same building.
Yep.
She heard it. She was like, I know the family, this, that. It's not for me. They met face to face. And then it's like, oh, maybe I'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There's something
They would have
magical.
never met. They would have never gone out together if they didn't meet at the show.
Yeah, so what I would be advocating for is to take your dating idea and not just keep it. I understand why we're keeping it to 25, but to also add it to the younger age as well. And there shouldn't be a one size fits all for dating. I feel like
Yeah.
there's multiple options that work for everyone, and
Mhm.
they have to try new things. And I think this is obviously very helpful, your idea, and something. sheds
Right.
a new
It's
light
not
on the
happening
community.
when they're 18.
Yeah,
They're not coming out at 18. First of all, they're getting the phone call. Second of all,
Yeah.
they're still in that system where they still need their parents' guidance. That's what it is all
I
about.
feel like if you need your parents' guidance at the age of 18, then you shouldn't be getting married. But that's a little hot
I know,
topic.
but it's a
That's
total different world. Like Hannah said, they're ready for it.
Right.
Yeah.
But once you hit a certain age by the Hasidim, like 23, the call stop and you're on your own. And there's no, and you're, cause I don't know, it's just, it's sad. I believe I'm a hopeless romantic. Everybody needs a partner in life. And that's
What
it.
does life look like for an older chassid at the old age of 23?
So sad. Sorry. Because wherever he's going to go, people are going to say, what was I saying?
Alte Bucher.
Alte Bucher, or yeah.
They ask
Alte Bucher.
questions. It's not-
And like, Bayou of Simchas, like they make them feel like you're second class.
You really are, though.
Yes.
You sit like in yeshiva, and it's like everyone's like, "Oh my god!" Like, I remember I had a nephew that was I think he must have been like 22, and like everyone's like, "Oh my god, we should say tell him we should this." And I always joked with my sister, like, "You have to start like looking away. Like you have to take a woman without limbs. Like that's how it is. Like if you are like past 22, 23, like you have to start really looking away. Like you have to take a handicapped woman. You have to like it's pathetic how like you have to really like and then when they get engaged at 23, it's like what's wrong with her? What happened to her?
Yeah.
What's her story?
What's her story?
Like that's how it is. So
And and for me also, like I have many friends that are single, divorced. It's so hard for them, you know, Yantiv, just to be alone. Shabbos, Yantiv, it's very lonely. So they should come out and be vulnerable and show up for themselves because it's definitely gonna help them.
Right.
By them sitting at home, they're just standing still.
So
I
you guys
also-
said you
yeah,
had
go
2
ahead.
couples that you
Yes.
set up through these events. From the first, how long did it take from the first event to when they were engaged? How long was that?
4 weeks.
And is that a long time in the Hasidic community? Is that
No,
Quick,
it's
is that
fast,
normal?
Pretty
That's
fast,
average?
pretty fast. But because they were smitten by one another. Once they
Yeah.
saw each other, they're like, "Oh my God!" They went out every day. And it was
Even the second
magical.
couple was pretty fast. Like we
Yes.
didn't expect it to happen so fast.
Yeah.
But it did happen pretty fast. I
And
feel like
we-
when it's the right person, it's just the right person, and
Yeah.
like when you know, you know.
hmm
That's how I.
And again, it's not a mingling. You come in, it's like a business
business.
convention. The girls are sitting, the guys are sitting, very professional. And it's not like if I'm shy, I won't be like nobody will come over to me. Don't worry. Everybody has a chance to talk to everybody.
What do you think? And this is totally different, but what do you think about definitely not dating apps, but like once we're condensing time, and now we go from a 2-hour date to 5 minutes, why not like a 30-second bio video where you just explain who you are?
Because you're not seeing that from a video. We feel like in person, like you're really getting to know the person. Even in that 5 minutes, like you can talk to someone and get a feel of the person and be like, can I even see myself continue with this person? Like even go further with the conversation. When you're looking at a picture or like an app, you're looking at the picture. You're looking at features. You're looking at and there's bad pictures and there's good pictures and
But what about a video? Then you
I
have
don't
some
know
more
if you're
information.
really getting so
No,
much.
we
You're
want-
not asking questions. You're not
Yeah.
like
are there any
Interacting.
dating apps that people use in the Hasidic community
I
that
don't
doesn't
know
exist?
about
I
it.
don't think
I
so.
don't know about it. But I know people are frustrated with dating apps and they're searching for the real, authentic. Just give me real.
Yeah.
I'm done faking. I'm done playing. And that's why we chose 25 to 40.
Yeah. And Mimi and I
Year-olds.
are continuing for 2 reasons. First of all, we had 2 Shidduchim happening in what was it, 4 months span, not even.
Unbelievable.
And the
many.
feedback,
Yeah.
feedback that's coming in. We had another couple that got engaged, not through Bshow Up. She came to Bshow Up. Someone met her at Bshow Up, whether it was, I don't even know if it was a guy or a girl. I got a voicemail after she got engaged. And she said, I went to her engagement. She's like, and her sister told me that she went to Bshow Up and someone met her there and said, I have someone perfect for you.
Yeah.
So they didn't actually meet at our event, but technically they met at our event.
Because she showed up at Bshow Up, someone saw her. That's how she met her
Yeah.
Bashert, and she's engaged now.
Engaged now, she got engaged. the
Do you
other
think
night.
there are going to be a bunch of these popping up now?
I hope so.
I hope. There's so many people that
Such a
are
need.
lonely, sitting alone, and are forgotten. And Klal Yisrael shouldn't be like that. We need to help each others. And
Oh, also back to, I realized what I wanted to ask before. Once the core issue is that you have someone who's 23 years old and they feel like they're lower class now, what do you think can be done to fix that issue? Because this is all, it's sort of a Band-Aid on a massive issue. But first of all, what is leading someone who's 23 to believe that they're old and worth less than they were when they were 18? And then, is there any way to combat that?
first of all, Hasidic world is all about marriage. It's all about reproducing, getting married, and having kids, and nachas. You know, the parents are waiting for their nachas. So they feel like useless, like I'm like a dead tree. That's what I think. But
And what do you think about that?
It's sad. I think they should they should work on themselves, get to know themselves, read books, and work grow as a human, and then again sign up to Bshow Up. That's it.
Is there food at Bishau?
Yes.
Yes.
So do people eat? That's because I know it's very uncomfortable for some people to eat on a first date or whatever it is, or in front of someone else at their meeting, because for obvious reasons. Do people eat? or
Yeah,
no?
we do. First of all, we have a break. So in between, you can go get food.
It's important.
Yeah.
Second of all, the food that we serve are like little
Bite-sized.
bite-sized, so it's
Like
easy.
appetizers.
Yeah.
Kind of
Yes. Yeah. We give
Um,
dessert. We have wine, cocktails. It's really it's a very high end event, and it's geared for you. Like you are the star. So
you
it's
have
not
any
like you're going to your friend's simcha. You're going to your own simcha.
Do you have any specific speed dating tips for people? Here are good questions to ask. Here are best practices for speed dating.
First
Let's
of all,
just- yeah, go ahead.
sorry. First of all, smile. People underestimate what a smile is. Just smile. Smile, make eye contact, and be yourself. Like now you have a shot. Don't fake it. Don't just be real. That's all. That's why we do it.
We also have guidance with our program. So there's questions being asked. You don't have to be put in a position where you're lost and you're like, oh, what am I saying? We have
Cards.
we have cards on the table. Like if you get
Mhm.
lost and you don't know what to say, you can always grab a
Icebreaking.
card, icebreaker cards. And yeah, it's a really like the program is guided. So it's not like you're not like coming in front of someone and being like, oh my God, what am I saying?
Yep. Yep.
And we spoke to people, and some people said like when they liked the person, the 5 minutes was short, but when they were uncomfortable, like that 5 minutes is a long 5 minutes.
Yeah, but they
So-
took a breather instead of them working on getting to know that person. She was more like relaxed. She drank her drink, she ate her salad,
Yeah.
whatever. It was more relaxed, so it wasn't so bad.
Yeah.
But many of, I heard from many people, they're like, we want more of my type. I want more of this type. If you want more of your type, tell your friends to sign up. The more people that register, the more we can divide it. And I wish I can do these events every week. But again, it's a new concept, and people are scared.
You said that you have to
Especially-
apply. You don't.
Yes.
Not so someone just can't
No.
technically
No.
be on. You have to actually apply, and
Yeah.
you do. What do you guys? How do you pick who's
So
on
we
it?
try to divide it. So we try to divide it according to types. We want when you come in, you should have as many options as possible for yourself. So there is a wide range between ages, between are you divorced with kids? Have you never been married? You know, all these things. We try to divide it to best fit you.
Mhm.
So the more people we have, the better, you know, the more space we have to be able to divide it. Because we did have the first event, we were just like, we opened it a little more. We were just like, okay, come one, come all. Not fully like that, but you know, we allowed more, and it was a bigger, you know, the
Blend.
crowd was divided, you know, a lot, you
Mhm.
know, and then the second event, we kind of targeted it a little better. And we want to just be able to target the best possible. So like you have the best options in the room.
Yep.
And what happens after? So now do they have to go back and do research on this person?
Nothing.
No, that's what Leia does.
Leia does that.
Oh, but now research is still being done. It's just not by them.
No. So what happens is you're meeting the person, and then you're coming in and you're seeing 3 girls that seem somewhat interesting. Okay, so you're writing down those 3 names. You go to Leia and you tell her, okay, this one, and this one are interesting, obviously in order. Okay, Leia's gonna go back to the other girls, see which girls are interested. Once they are interested, you're gonna get the girl's number. You're gonna take her out on a date, and you're gonna go from there.
And we usually push for a coffee date. Don't take her out to a restaurant. Start with a half hour, an hour. And then, if it's good, because it takes away the pressure for both of you, just start with a coffee date.
Something like
Mm-hmm.
I think that's it.
I feel like that's good advice.
Yeah,
Also, in
I got the
general,
full
start with a
picture.
coffee date.
Amazing.
Guys,
Amazing.
go to Bshow Up.
That's it. That's
Thank
it.
you.
It's a new thing. And you'll see, you never know. If you show up, you never know who you will meet. And your life will start from Bshow Up.
Segment 4, now we have the Hamish Tenenbaum, who actually went to Bshow Up. So
Yeah.
how do you find it? What was it like? Tell us.
Okay, so one of my friends who grew up Hasidish sent me their Instagram post, and I thought it was a joke because I'm not Hasidish, but she knew that I really like Hamish guys.
Was it a joke?
No, it wasn't a joke. She's like, then she WhatsApped me separately, and she's like,
This is not a joke.
This is not like for real. I think you should go to this event. I know you like Hamish guys. The guys who I've dated seriously were Hamish. Actually, we noticed that pattern. So I think I messaged. Oh, I was a little stalkerish, so I like tapped on the post to see who they tagged. They tagged Mimi and Rifki.
Mhm.
I ended up messaging you,
Mhm.
Mimi.
Yeah, yeah.
And she's like, if you're into Hamish guys, for sure come. So I was like, okay. So I signed up and I went.
Can we hear why you're into Hamish, guys?
Okay, what does
It's
Hamish
a good
mean?
plug.
Yeah. So I appreciate men who grew up Hasidish or Hamish because I find that there are a few common denominators, which are as follows. First of all, they tend to have a great sense of humor, very sharp. Number two is that they're chill, like about life in some ways, but they're also very motivated and ambitious.
They're geschickt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Geschikt?
It means
That
like
word?
like they're just like they're driven.
get it.
They
Driven.
get it done.
Right, right,
They
right.
get it done.
Yeah.
It's like
and they understand masculine and feminine roles. And I appreciate traditional masculine and feminine roles. They know how to be men.
So that's a whole nother topic. But first,
Oh wait,
what
I
is-
just
a whole
want
nother
sorry,
podcast.
sorry. Let me just say one thing. I'm not like bashing Litvish guys. There are some
Okay.
wonderful Litvish guys, my brothers included, who are like that. But I'm just saying, as a general stereotype, I find that Hasidim are like this.
I'm still trying to figure out how are you figuring out if someone's Hamish or not?
Well,
If they're not Hasidish, then how are they Hamish?
it's that they have that certain background that is similar, like that has some sort of Hasidishness to it. So let's say they have a parent who, is Hasidish, or meaning they went to a Hasidish type of school. They know Yiddish. They have that familiarity that's somewhat of a background, but they are not entrenched in the community. They live in like, not that there's like a regular world or not, but they live more in like the, they're not
outskirts.
insulated in the.
Got it.
and there's a warmth to them also. There's some like warmth that Hasidim have.
Interesting.
That's also something that I noticed by the events was that no matter what was happening at the beginning, in the middle, at the end, there was just a certain warmth that was like permeating in the room, that everyone just was themselves. And that's like that Hamish. That is what Hamish is that it's like a certain comfortable
Feel.
factor that they bring. It's like, just be yourself. Everything's fine. Everything's chill. Just be who you are. And that's very refreshing. I feel like in the dating world, you don't always see that. People just present themselves a certain way and like pretend to be something that they're not. And I feel like in the Hasidish Hamish world, you get what you get. Like you see it right away.
Yeah.
So before, did you do regular dating, not speed dating?
Yeah.
And
Well,
how did they compare?
I
the
mean,
two?
I've done speed dating in the Litvish world
Ah.
and regular dating and dating events. But I have to say, I left that event. I was in the best mood. And I remember telling my friends, I was like, this was the best dating event I've been to in my life. And I've been to a lot.
Wow.
And
See?
yeah, no, I'll tell you. First of all, you feel like you're not alone. Everyone has your back. All this, I don't know what to call it, the staff or volunteers.
Yeah,
whatever
staff.
it is.
Definitely staff.
Staff, right. They're all amazing, like for real, every single one. And there are therapists walking around, coaches, there's a psychologist, like everybody is there for you, supporting you. And no one's like sitting there alone, even by the mingling part. People have who to talk to. If you need something, you could approach one of the staff and they help you out. The energy was very intentional and also high end, like Mimi said. And it was just a wonderful environment and warmth all around.
Is there any competition between the people there? Like between guys and each other and then girls and each other?
I
Did you feel?
I
you
didn't feel that. I
No?
actually felt the opposite. Like I became friendly with some of the girls. We were supporting each other, and I met someone, and I could tell she was very nervous. So it was like, just come hang out with me till like we have speed dating part, and we just hung out.
Again, it's a community. Like, we make sure everybody feels part of something
So where's the next
amazing.
one?
June 14.
Do you know where it is yet?
Yes, it's in a high-end restaurant.
In
Get to sign
Manhattan
up
somewhere?
to find out.
No, it's in Muncie.
Oh, in Muncie.
Yeah.
Are there a lot of people in the Muncie area? And do you want to end up in Manhattan? Like where are the communities mostly?
So we live in Muncie, Pomona.
Right.
So that's why we do it there. And we do it always on a Master Shabbos. I feel like that's the time where everybody's relaxed and they can go out and be themselves more rather than tomorrow, like they have to go to work or they're tired from the work week.
It's also a good alternative to like if you don't have anything to do on a Moshe Shabbos and you want to go out and you want to have something to do, this is a great experience for you.
Yeah, and we do have people that flew in from Miami,
Whoa.
Detroit, Canada, Israel, a lot of places.
They flew in just for this?
Yes, yes.
I hope it worked out.
I mean, they were thrilled. We have one girl from London, and she's like, I would come again. So
Yeah.
and again, we take care of them after. Like it's not only that they come and meet, and if you didn't find anyone, it's you have to come again. No, we make sure to follow up and make sure.
What was your
Yeah,
experience after?
I was gonna say that actually. Thank you for reminding me that after. First of all, I think everyone reached whoever I had communicated with, like Rifki and Mimi, reached out to me. Leia also did. I hadn't met her yet, and I remember like bracing myself because you had mentioned. I'm looking at her, but I'll say Leia had mentioned this guy. She called me randomly about this guy, and I wasn't interested, and I was like bracing myself for her to like push me into it because that's what I'm used to. And she was so sweet and understanding. And then she's like, let me know if you need anything ever. And then I was talking to Hannah, who also like it was like everyone
It's a
here.
community. It's a
It's
community.
Yes.
was helping me out with a dating situation. And then she recommended that I reach out to Leia, and I did. And she was so warm and helped me out and had suggestions and reached out to me. And Mimi and Rifki, like everybody's following up, and they're really doing their best to try to get me married. It's really nice.
You being on you were actually in it.
Mhm.
Did people do anything specifically right or wrong within the 5-minute speed dates?
Like the
Like,
guys,
do
you're saying?
yeah. Do you have tips based on being on the other end of it of what someone can do better?
A lot of guys did the right thing. I saw, like, I was reaching for water, and some guy like got up and got it for me. It was very sweet. Some, you
Aw,
know,
that's so nice.
um,
See, right away, you could tell that's
right,
less than 5 minutes.
That's right.
Some guys were very like they like jumped to like tactless, I guess we would say. So sometimes I felt like it was a little bit too much. Like you could just like let's get to know each other, but no one did anything wrong. You know, it's just sometimes like that. I heard you ask earlier. I think you asked Hannah and Leia how you could get to know someone in 5 minutes. So
Right.
I mean, from my perspective, you can't really, but what you could do is just get a feel of their energy and like what they're about a little bit, and then you could ask the questions like once you maybe during the mingling part, or if you go on a date, obviously. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you could also tell right away when you're talking to somebody if they're a mensch, if they're kind, if they're considerate. Right? That all happens right away. You know, even the first question you ask them, you know, if they're like, I don't think you need to know that, or let's keep it topical. Like you can learn so much from somebody in the 5 minutes.
Are there any last messages that anyone has for Shidduchim in general or for Bshow Up?
I don't know.
I just want to say one thing about everyone that was there, that everyone had such good midos, and there were all of high caliber people, like the guys, the girls, everyone. So I just want to put that out there. That's
Thank you.
important to, yeah.
Yeah, we really, really put our hard work into it, and we really care for Nechami. Like Nechami became
feel
like
it.
my family. Like we really care for each and every person, Leia. Like we really care for each and every one of you. The main thing is I want the girls to get out of their comfort zone and be a little vulnerable, and I promise you we'll take care of you in a very respectful, beautiful way, the way you should be treated.
Amazing.
Yeah, and I
Anything?
think the biggest thing is just that through Bshow Up, it creates so much hope. I've seen so many people feel less alone, even if they're not meeting somebody at the event that's for them. They walked away feeling like, okay, but at least I have somebody to talk to now. At least I have somebody that has my back, that's thinking about me. I think just the concept of having someone think about you, and this is across the board in every community, is huge. And so if you can create that for somebody, that hope, it's gold.
And again, you're not alone, you're not forgotten, and we're all in this to help you. And that's our mission. That's really our mission.
Amazing. Okay, this is the actual end. Thank you, everyone. This is awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.